Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
It's high noon up and down the Wasatch Front, and Scotty and the coach are just getting started.
You know what? This Mammoth season, look, I am fired up for the Jazz season. I'm fired up for the Mammoth season. Obviously, we're all fired up for college football. You have mentioned and coined this the summer of us, the sports fans here in the state of Utah, because expectations for BYU, Utah, the Mammoth, and the Utah Jazz collectively are about as high as anything we've seen in recent memory, with all four of them expected to have very, very good seasons.
And I promise you, we've got baseball in that same, right now we're in that realm where we're only a few years away from knowing we're going to have that. I mean, everywhere I turn, people are talking about baseball in Utah.
This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim Lacombe, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, the coach, Tim Lacombe. I hope you're all having a great day as we are halfway through the show. High noon, up and down the Wasatch Front. As we will have a chance to chat with Kurt Helin coming up here in just a moment. We're live here at Bar W Beef in Nephi. Come on by, hang out with us, and grab yourself a bite to eat at the Bar W Grill. Later tonight, the Bar W Steakhouse will open up. I highly suggest you get your reservations at barwsteakhouse.com and check out this incredible beef. And all of this beef that they serve here can be shipped to your house as well. Just go to barwbeef.com. The special, it's a promo code Scotty10, SCOTTY10. Enter that in and check out when you get the Sunday dinner box. That's 2 chuck roasts, 1 rump roast, 1 tri-tip roast, 5 pounds of ground beef, all yours, and 10% off if you use the promo code Scotty10 at checkout. I like it.
Sounds delicious. I'm a roast guy on Sundays.
Yeah, let's throw a little potatoes, some carrots.
Yep. Just had it last week, in fact. We
mushroom.
had the whole crew over.
Put it in the slow cooker. It makes you look like an all-star.
Well, I mean, some of us have to keep striving, Scotty.
Stop.
Others have attained greatness and just stay there.
I hope to someday achieve any of that.
Greatest guy I know.
NBA, the Summer League. We'll see if Kurt's – I would imagine Kurt is now probably done in Vegas. I think he was there probably for a bit, and now it's like it's time to go home because there's really not a lot left here to watch.
Yeah, I would bet that was and I'm curious to get his take on Summer League seemingly getting shorter.
Yes.
You know, that it's now in vogue to make your debut and a splash, maybe a curtain call, and then call it good.
Elbow, wrist, wave to the crowd, score a few buckets, and then go back home.
But I do believe that, like I said earlier, the Jazz learned what they needed to learn from Summer League in terms of Darryn Peterson. I mean, if you just go back a month, people were worried about the fact he could put 30 minutes together. And he answered all the questions. I think, the situation he was in with guys doubling him and playing with more pressure.
Yeah.
That was definitely something that was an outlier, but I like the way he handled it.
I did too, and I think that there's going to be a lot of attention on him, and I think that's something that he's ready for, and I think that's something that he can embrace and handle in a big way. And I'd say go for it. Let's see where he's at.
And the cool part again, like he's not going in there. Yes, it's a young crew. But it's a young, excited crew. They're excited to get on this journey to win. They've taken their lumps, and so he's coming into a very, very positive environment to develop.
Joining us now, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com, it is Kurt Helin joining us. Kurt, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be home as of last night from just way too long in Vegas. So.
Yeah. There's about a 48-hour, 72-hour sweet spot with Vegas, and then once you hit that, it's no bueno after that.
Yeah, and I was there for like 7 days, so that's more than enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so I guess now guys can come in, they can play a game, maybe two, and then right off in the sunset. Was there anything left to learn about either Darryn Peterson or AJ Dybantsa after those first couple games?
No, and that's been the plan. That's been the pattern for, I don't want to say better part of a decade, but a while now. In fact, it's almost more unusual to see what Memphis has done, where they have continued to play Coward and Boozer longer. That was unexpected. I don't know that you're going to learn that much, like you said, beyond what you've already seen. And in the case of like Coward and Boozer, there's some advantages to playing them together since they're going to play a lot during the season together, and you try to let them develop some chemistry. And you could have made that case with Ace Bailey here, but Ace wasn't playing after he kind of tweaked his calf, and so I don't think you're getting anything out of that. And frankly, as you get deeper into the summer league, you get the guys who are now really trying to make the team, trying to get noticed, whether for a European squad or the G League or wherever they're going to ultimately land. The basketball gets a little weirder, and you don't need somebody just diving into Peterson's knee because there's a loose ball or something.
Speaking of Darryn, what were your thoughts on how his summer league went? He was able to play games here in Utah and then in Vegas as well. So collectively, your thoughts? Yeah,
I was impressed. I was impressed with his poise. I think you saw that particularly against Memphis there in Salt Lake, that second game, where he really handled the pressure of it well. But he's also a rookie, and the next game out, he didn't handle it as well. When he got pressured in Vegas, I guess that was the second game in Vegas. I'm trying to remember now. It's all starting to blend together. There was one game where he had kind of a rougher day, but that's all part of the learning process. He is going to get so much thrown at him over the next couple of years, but physically he looked great. The explosion is there. The mental part of the game is there. He just really seems to get it. And most importantly, like none of the health issues, none of that all seemed forgotten. And it's a long season, so we'll deal with all that then, but I thought it looked fantastic.
There's guys that you want to see. If they play well, it's a cherry on top. And I always say first-year guys, rookies, I don't have high expectations. But I always have high expectations for guys that have played in the league and are playing in their second or third summer league. And with that, I'm a little – there's a concern level on Cody Williams because I did not think he looked particularly good for the Jazz, especially down there in Vegas.
To be fair, they are asking him to put the ball in his hands and do more creation than he's frankly probably ever going to do with the Jazz properly. And that's part of what Summer League is. Let's put this guy in a situation where we can't really do that, over the course of 82. But he didn't stand out consistently. He had his moments. He definitely has gotten a little stronger, which was certainly one of the issues that he had to deal with. But it wasn't the kind of breakout you'd hoped for, and it's something to monitor because I think we discussed this last week when I was there. This is really like a make or break year for him, right? Like you've got to do it. This is the season where if you're going to be part of this going forward, if you're going to be part of the future, you've got to prove it this season. And Summer League didn't give me a ton of confidence heading that direction.
Your thoughts on AJ Dybantsa? Just played a couple games, but looked like he just picked up where he left off.
He did, and I hadn't seen him in person for basically a year, and you forget just how fluid and smooth an athlete he is. It's the comp I keep using now is if you remember like peak Roger Federer, where he'd play Rafael Nadal, and Nadal's this explosive, athletic guy who's going everywhere, and Federer got to all the same balls. But he did it, and it was just graceful and smooth, and it didn't look like he was working all that hard, And it's not that he wasn't, or it's not that Dybantsa isn't, but there's just a fluidity to his athleticism that's really impressive. He got to his spots, he knocked down his shots. I thought he looked fantastic out there. Frankly, what was impressive to me is all four of the top guys looked really good in Vegas. And Caleb Wilson's got some ups and downs a little bit, but that was expected. He's a little more of a project than the other guys. And all that said, I was really impressed with Dybantsa as a guy who can step in, and he's going to be asked to do a lot for that team, but he can pick his spots a little bit because he's between Trae Young and Anthony Davis.
You know, the thing you brought up Caleb Wilson, and that's the thing that cracks me up about Summer League is that in the first game, it seemed like we were going to size him up for a jacket for the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, and then the next game it was like, okay, what Applebee's is he going to be serving tables with Anthony Bennett? Like, it's just like there's no in between. Exactly. There's no in between on this. Oh, I think we may have lost Coach.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
There we go. Sorry about that.
I put you on mute for a second to yell at my dog, who is, I don't know what you're barking at, dude. There's nothing going on in front of the house.
Hey, settle down, Bowser.
No, that first game was a bit of a misnomer in the sense that, he was 7 of 27 shooting threes in 24 games in college, and then he knocked down 7 of 11 in his first summer league game. And it's like I was sitting next to somebody who's followed him a little bit at Scout and goes, it's not just that he didn't shoot at North Carolina. Like, he hasn't shot that well at any level. Like, he at no point, like, you see the potential there, but that was definitely a one-off night, and he looked much more human the next night. But he also knocked down some threes. He obviously can get to the rim. The athleticism is there. And I'm really happy for him in the sense that I think Thiago Splitter he's a really good developmental coach. He did a fantastic job in Portland last year. He was brought in from Europe partially for that reason. I thought he looked fantastic that way. Like, that's a good situation for him to develop. Splitter was actually out there coaching at least the first part of Summer League. I'm not sure if he's going to do the back end of it, but he's out there with the team and bonding with these guys. So I like Wilson's potential, but I wouldn't pick him as my rookie of the year. He's going to take a year or two to come around.
Kurt Helin joining us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so Kurt, you mentioned AJ. He plays those 2 games, and you can tell that there was he had that Darryn Peterson thing lined up, and he wanted to make a statement. Yeah. He certainly did. And so you come away from him. I mean, we all know he's going to be good. We know he's going to be right there in the running for Rookie of the Year. Was there anything that you learned about him that you weren't expecting, or was that pretty much on par for what you expected?
On par for what I expected on the court. And Peterson, by the way, I think pressed a little in that game. That was one of his worst Summer League games, and I think it was just Peterson's been able to rise up to big moments throughout his career, including playing Dybantsa in college, but he seemed to press in this one a little bit, and it didn't work. I've also forgot, though, that Dybantsa is an incredibly confident individual. Like, he is. Oh yeah. He has a big personality, and I think that will serve him well, marketing wise and career wise. Look. You don't get to play at the level he wants to play at without some level of ego. There's no egolessness guys doing that. And he certainly brings that to the table, but it kind of works for him. He still does it in a charming way. And Joel Embiid isn't wrong. Everybody turns on these guys eventually, but for now, it works.
Well, the Jazz now have moved into this territory with center by committee. I think Walker Kessler was probably in the plans all the way along, and some plans you got to deviate, and it looks like that's what the Jazz will do here. I think it was the right move, not to match. I think in everything they got back for it, right? So, in your mind, how does that impact the Jazz ability to continue to try to climb and reach the playoffs?
I don't think they're. I think they're still on that track because Kessler was certainly part of that, but he wasn't going to be the heart and soul of that team. His job was to defend and protect the paint and, set some good picks and roll hard. You've got Markkanen, you've got Peterson, you've got Keontae George, you've got plenty of guys who are going to create and score. So that wasn't going to be the role. And I think Nurkic and, like you said, center by committee can fill that role for now while you look around and try to find the longer term answer there. But centers, it was a good summer to be a center.
Yeah.
It was a good summer to be a center because there's a tall French guy in San Antonio, and everybody's trying to figure out, all right, I got to go get somebody. I need my Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Like, I need to go get a guy who can do what he did for Oklahoma City. And ultimately, the Spurs won that series, but everybody watched it and said, I don't know. I need my Isaiah Hartenstein. Look, honestly, I had to put together yesterday for NBC Sports, you can find it there, a projection of the top 12 guys going to we're 2 years out from the 2028 Olympics. Yesterday would have been 2 years from the opening ceremonies. And I started constructing that USA team, and I'm like, I got to get a big-bodied center. I have to find an American big-bodied center to deal with Wemby. And it might ultimately be Kessler. Like Kessler, if he can prove to be if he can be the guy the Lakers are paying him to be, the guy the Jazz hoped he could be, then he might be that guy, especially in an international basketball world where there's no 3 seconds on defense in the paint. But everybody in the NBA is looking for those guys. It's good to be a center right now, man.
So it wouldn't be Vegas League without maybe a little TMZ side story to all of this. Can you give us any more details on the dust up with Bam and Hero?
Not particularly. I think they're both ready to move on from it, but it was – look, as people know probably who've been following this, Tyler said some things going out the door on a secondary social media account that apparently everybody just knows is his. This is not my native world, but he apparently said this, and Bam, a pretty direct guy, confronted him, and they had to be separated. I'm personally, look, this happened in front of the Resorts World, so it happened in front of a casino hotel near Tyler Hero's entire AAU team of teenage kids. You telling me there's not video? Like, there's video somewhere. We just haven't seen it yet. But I guess it got broken up pretty quickly, and Hero kind of brushed it off and is trying to move on, and Bam will probably do the same. But there's a little bad blood there, and it's going to be interesting. I think Milwaukee and Miami got to play each other 4 times, so it'll be interesting. Might be a couple of hard fouls coming.
We spend a ton of time out here talking about the West. Man, the East has shifted around and gotten fairly interesting rather quickly, hasn't it?
It has. It's a lot deeper. The Knicks are still the team I probably trust the most, but Philadelphia is going to be right there. LeBron, if he ends up in Cleveland, which I still think is the most likely outcome, it's what I keep hearing, but we'll see. LeBron fills a need for them of a guy who can step up in the playoffs and kind of give them some glue on the nights that James Harden might have an off playoff game or two, guys.
Not defensively. Check the analytics, man.
But he's I think LeBron can lift them up. And the other part, Indiana gets Tyrese Halliburton back, and I like the Zubats trade for them as a rim protector and role. Big. He upgrades their center position. They get back to flowing. That's just the conference is a lot deeper. I'm not quite sure what to do with Boston. I've got them dropped a little bit in my mind. Detroit's still going to be really good, but they didn't go get a secondary playmaker, which is concerning. With all due respect to Isaiah Joe, that's not his role.
No, he's a shooter, man.
He's a pure shooter. So, but that's still a much deeper conference than it was, and I think it's going to be a little tougher to get games. But also, expect everybody's win-loss total, both conferences, to go down a little this year. Simply because with the new lottery system, this isn't a draft everybody was going to tank for anywhere, but there's going to be nobody really tanking. Like Brooklyn's going to be pretty bad this year as they try to get Mikal Brown Jr. and Denham and all those guys together. They went and got a floor raiser in Julius Randle. Like every team is doing that now because they don't want to be in that bottom 3 and get punished for being that bad. And so every team's a little bit better, and they're going to win a few more. Everybody's going to win a few more games, and everybody's going to lose a few more games, and it's going to get tighter in the middle.
So before we let you go, the situation going on in Los Angeles with the Clippers and the NBA investigation, you had Adam Silver say that he wants this wrapped up before the start of the season, would have hoped that they'd have be a little further along than they are right now. The longer this goes on, is that a good or a bad sign for the Clipper ownership and Kawhi?
Bad.
That's what I thought.
I think it's bad. It's getting worse. And, the reporting from Mike at The Athletic yesterday, and if you follow it, it's worth reading. They're now looking at a second situation like this, a second sponsor where apparently he got paid and didn't do anything or didn't do very much, and some other perks that may have come his way that weren't paid for. I'm curious how far down the rabbit hole they're going to go with that, because every team does that with a lot of guys. Like,
yes,
man, hey, your mom's going to Hawaii. You want to use the owner's house for a few? Like, that kind of stuff happens all the time. And nobody really wants that to stop, but there's a line there. But it sounds like it's bad. What I keep hearing now is they've got enough that the Clippers are going to get smacked pretty good, like lose draft picks, Ballmer suspended. They'll give him an 8-figure fine, but it's Ballmer. But you're going to see a massive fine. And Kawhi probably gets slapped on the wrist, honestly. Yeah. That's what we keep hearing is like it's the punishment isn't really going to hit Kawhi that bad. But I did notice that Kawhi is, they started negotiations before all this went weird with the trade. They started talking to Toronto about his extension. He went and got an actual agent. It's no longer his lawyer and Uncle Dennis running the show. There's now an actual agent who's going to handle that for him.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Hey, Kurt, we can't thank you enough, man. We appreciate it. We'll actually give you a few weeks off here because we've gone to this well a lot. So we want you to appreciate what's left of your summer. So thanks so much as always. Looking forward to catching up with you again here soon. And I'm sure some news will break and we'll find a way to get you back on the air here.
Yeah, I'm always around for you guys. And if not, look, come the fall or after Utah State makes the college football playoffs and has a good strong season, we can get back into basketball as football starts to wind down. I always enjoy it, and we'll talk then.
You got it.
Thanks, Kurt.
Take care, guys.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That's Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com.